Hey, how's it going? Right, so today we're going to be talking about the continuation from the previous book that I reviewed, Spider-Man Coming Home. This is The Amazing Spider-Man Revelations and Until the Stars Turn Cold. So you have actually two arcs that are that continue between each other. So they're the same arc, so the same plot thread, but halfway through the scene villain changes. The big villain of the first half gets beaten, and there's a new villain for the second half. So essentially what this deals with is Peter Parker dealing with his relationship with Mary Jane and his relationship with Aunt May. He, first off, at the end of the last book, at the end of Coming Home, Aunt May walks in to see Peter Parker, or to see her nephew, Peter, beaten up to absolute piss, covered in bandages, and sees his tattered Spider-Man suit on the floor. So in this, it's basically the big conversation piece that they need to have, and it lasts for an entire issue, and nothing happens in that entire issue apart from Peter and Aunt May talking, and it's amazing. It is. I love issues like that, and it's issues that you don't really get anymore, where characters are just sat talking. Now you need to have kind of action to happen. Here, there's action in this book, but it's not all about the action. It's not the focus. The focus in Coming Home is the kind of battle between Spider-Man Morlun. Here, it's just we need to reset the status quo, and we need to get everyone onto the same page, and we need to rebuild or build up or build upon Peter Parker's relationships. We need to have him be more Peter Parker than Spider-Man. We see more of him being a teacher. We see he helps out one of his students, which leads into a fight with a supervillain, but that isn't really, the supervillain isn't a important thing. It's kind of just there to give him something to fight. And again, in the second half, Dr. Octopus does come in, and someone else comes in who has similar technology to Dr. Octopus, and they're only really there because it gives Spider-Man something to fight, or it gives Aunt May a bigger look into who's a superpowered person, who's got a suit, who's not, what's this, what's that. And there's a funny scene on the last page where Aunt May's so Otto Octavius is, and you're Mary Jane, is there anything you want to tell me? And I just thought that was funny. But yeah, we do get a little bit that dives more into the spiritual aspect of Spider-Man. So we get a little bit that goes so the big threat of the first half is mystical. So he's using he's sending homeless kids to the astral plane and spewing them back out again, and not spewing them back out. He's keeping them in, and he's just taking off homeless kids and users because no one will remember them, or no one will care when they're gone. So Spider-Man gets involved because one of the people that gets taken is the brother of a student, the sister of a student, and he realizes that the guy who's taken them is a supernatural, mystical threat. So he goes to Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange is like, you need to go to the astral plane, take this artifact and go fight him in the astral plane. So when they eventually do fight in the astral plane, Peter sees this like giant spider, and the giant spider is basically like, I'm you from the future, you're not meant to be here yet, leave now. And so he does, and he's obviously and he's meant to be mating up with MJ at this point, so he's obviously late for that. I do really like this book. I really do. And this run is the quintessential for anyone who's getting into Spider-Man. Because it's got that humour, it's got that it's a perfect balance between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, appearing in the book. And it is, a new status quo, it's a new kind of, it is basically the perfect introduction after what was several years of Spider-Man just being kind of there and not really being that interesting and kind of being a bit boring. And then you bring in this and it's kind of revitalizing all of, not just Peter's relationships, but it's bringing in interesting villains as well, and new ones as well, because all of the villains, apart from Dr. Octopus, but he's not really a villain in here, they're all new and they're all interesting. Then like I said, the villains in this aren't really, they're not there to be like a main focus. They're there to, serve a point and bring the story forward and bring May, Peter and MJ closer together, and for a big knockdown drag out fight at the end. So yeah, there you have it. But yeah, I absolutely love this entire book. John Romita Jr.'s artwork is super good. Like, I think in this book, it's probably the best artwork from Romita Jr. And one of the issues in this is actually from the Nuff Said month that Marvel had. It was like a month where every comic book that was released had no dialogue, so it was only it was completely reliant on the artwork to tell the story. And here it's just after the conversation that Peter and MJ have, and it's that Peter and Aunt May have. So it's Aunt May going to like all the newspaper publishers and basically saying, you need to do a good story on Spider-Man, and it's Peter's swinging around like looking at pictures of MJ because she's like going to be in a new movie soon, and it's MJ looking at like Spider-Man on the news. And that just simple stuff, I love it. I love that kind of stuff. It's so good, and that's what Spider-Man is to me. He is a grounded character. So when he's fighting grounded threats, when he's dealing with his own personal turmoils, that's where I find the most entertainment out of Spider-Man. I don't find entertainment out of Spider-Man fighting like aliens or fighting things from space or fighting like giant powerful threats. I like it when it's more grounded, when it's more like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Which is another reason why I don't like Spider-Man and the Avengers. I really don't like Spider-Man as an Avenger. You know. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. This book gets a 9 out of 10 from me. If there's anything I need to say that's bad about it, it's just the way that it ends quite abruptly. There's not really there is, but it's not a satisfying conclusion. It's kind of like, well, you know there's going to be more coming, but they did wrap up the storyline, but just not like very well. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh yeah, and before I actually go, I know I did the outro very early, but I feel like I need to talk about this because it sucks. Etika, or Etika, whatever his name was, committed suicide, and it sucks. It really sucks. I didn't know him. I didn't know of him before like the news like came out, but it sucks whenever anyone online, you know, kills themselves. A vlogger committed suicide only like a few months ago as well, and now supposedly a really popular streamer. It just goes to show how like detrimental of an effect that doing this, or that, you know, the whole like YouTube lifestyle can have on people, and it just sucks when, you know, when people are doing a similar thing to what you do, and I don't know if I should, you know, say anything about it or whatever. I feel like it's important, you know, to shed some light on it, because he was only young. He hadn't like reached his 30s yet, and I don't really have any words, really. But yeah, it just, yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. I'm sorry to leave you guys on such a dour note, but just remember, it's important to never leave a situation at an argument. Never do that, because you never know what will happen. Because, you know, and if anyone you know, or you yourself, are feeling in any certain way, just you know, go get a doctor. Don't just tell someone about it. Don't bottle up your feelings. I know it's worse for guys because they feel like they should bottle up their feelings, but don't. It's only going to have a bad effect in the long run. Because I did the same thing, and I didn't talk to anyone, and it sucks. And I was thinking that could have been me. It could have been a friend. That could have been a family member. And just look after yourselves. And, you know, talk to people. I'll see you guys in the next video.